such an asshole.
Hello, children. Cappy here. All right, we got a deep philosophical question. Dear asshole, I hope all is well in your neck of the woods. I know you hate it when people get to the point, so let me ramble for a few hundred words. There we go. Watch the previous video. Based on my observations, women, generally speaking, have little to no critical thinking skills as it relates to physical tasks. As an example, my girlfriend is intelligent and works in the IT space where she leads a team on projects. I've overheard her on meetings that she seems very competent when working through challenges. On the other hand, on more than one occasion, I've seen her attempt to release the tension on a ratchet strap, and you may as well have asked her to build a time machine because apparently it's the same level of complexity to her. On another recent occasion, she wanted to paint a room and she dove in thinking it was a quick couple-hour project. After getting started, it was clear that when she said, "I'm going to paint the room," she literally had only thought about the act of applying paint to the wall. She didn't think about prepping the space at all, so of course there's paint on outlet covers, windows, ceiling, ceiling, and everything else in sight. Then she decided it'd be easier to spray paint it. So at this point, I explained all the things that needed to be done to prep the space. And after the explanation, she was angry, decided she would pay to have it done. I find myself annoyed at the girlfriend often because anytime she's doing something and the slightest challenges arises, her immediate instinct, and you're surprised by this, is to ask for help or for someone else just to do it for her. To ask for help, yeah. I mean, we all did she ever paint before? Did she ever undo I remember ratchet straps for the first time. Like, what the hell is this? I mean, you got to be taught. It's whether you decide you're going to do it yourself or, oh my goodness, I didn't change the oil in my car because I didn't know it was a thing, and that's what men do. Can someone help me? That's where perhaps your ire comes in. I'm the complete opposite. When I encounter a challenge, I want to know why so I could develop a solution. Additionally, I seem to have an unconscious requirement to never unnecessarily burden another human. Oh, well, okay. Okay, that is the difference between men and women. That is definitely it. I would go along. My short answer to this: women do not lack critical thinking skills. It's more of a byproduct of their environment, having everybody wanting to have sex with them, so everyone tries to be nice to them, so they are shielded from ever having to use it. So in certain things like just physical strength, women just don't have it, so not exposed. It's not that. But I've seen women in the past. Yeah, they do it. They can. I mean, we talk about our buddy Jesse, who's a female, and oil rig worker. Also, if you go back into the Wild West, women had to be. You go in the former communist Soviet empire. A lot of those girls graduate with degrees in engineering and are much more street smart or capable. And so it's a function. Like, yeah, if it turns out you're going to starve or you're going to learn to I don't know, plow, women will and have in the past done it. It's just you're in the United States, I presume, and we've had life on easy mode. And men shield women from the real world because, as Bill Burr famously said, we want to fuck them. And so women never really get all that much of an opportunity. And let's be perfectly honest, if you don't have to change the timing belt, do you wanna? Like, flip the script. Let's say, girls wanted to have sex with guys all the time and we were truly meh. And you always had some girl because she wanted to have sex with you, like more than willing to do all these, like, oh, my cupboards don't close right. Oh, you wouldn't even know the timing belt broke. You just say, "I don't know, car's not working. Make it go." And a girl would always come to your rescue. You would never have to. You wouldn't even be aware of it. But that doesn't mean you're not capable of it, or if push came to shove, you do it yourself. And let's also be fair. Some women want to. Some women aren't just like tee titties, nah, nah, yeah, yeah, la 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 la. They're not. They're like, no, I'm going to be an engineer. Like your girlfriend going into look. Maybe she doesn't know how ratchet strap works or how painting works, but she probably knows her way around a computer a lot better than you do. So it's But so to answer the question, I think women are perfectly capable. They do, if necessary, they have critical thinking skills. They can call upon it. They may not have the practice in it. They may not be as good or proficient at it, but if they were raised under the same conditions and environment without this, half the population willing to put life on easy mode for them in the case their peen might get touched. So they would they are, I've seen it. They may not be as good at it because they don't get the practice. It's never been called upon, but they are capable of it. But we go, I want to know how, additionally, I seem to have an unconscious requirement to never unnecessarily burden another human. You're right, because in the olden days, that people, if you were in a tribe and you're having somebody else, I don't know, sharpen your spear or debark your steer spaff, they'd be like, I'm not hanging out with Mog anymore. He needs all this help. Girls, oh, I need help. You mean help? Help. Okay, I will. Peen touch now? I've been full-time in the military for quite some time. I started out as a mechanic, then I moved over to intelligence. Over the years, I've worked with very intelligent women, and basically none of them had skills outside of work. Okay, right. But they do have skills in work, right? So it shows they are, like look at accountants. I think women make superior accountants because I think women are just more detailed. And also I think there's a spiritual, they are truly passionate. Something that women truly live for is to find other people's mistakes. And then you're like, they make great accountants and editors. You ever see a dog, like, if you've ever hunted, the dog makes a kill or something and then just triumphantly trots off because it did a good job. That's when women find a mistake. They grow 2 inches in height. They get all proud. I found your mistake. La, 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 la. All right. But there is a critical thinking that goes into accounting or audit or forensic accounting and things like that. So it's just, I'm trying to think of something that do you know? Well, you probably do. You're a mechanic. I'm trying to think what you may not know. Do you know about lapidary? There you go. Do you know the art of cutting and polishing stones? No, you don't. That doesn't mean you're lacking critical thinking skills, but if I showed you, you'd be able to do it. My experience is anecdotal, but I don't think this is uncommon among women, and that's why it's so extraordinary to see women who do man things like fixing stuff, building, welding. Yes, it is. When people ask me about myself, I tell them about woodworking, gardening, building AR-15s, cooking, smoking meats, rock crawling, and fabricating my own parts because I broke something every time I took it out. Now let's also, I'm just trying to throw it over the plate here. How many men do you know do that today? Really, that's an impressive litany of hobbies and skills you got there. Look at the average under 40 something. Hey, Tanner, you need to change a tire. Tanner's response breaks down sobbing and crying and blames Republicans, blames capitalism. How many men do you know can fix their own darn house? I mean, I was like this when I was younger, but I was going to college and studying finance and banking. I wasn't studying how to be a tradesman or anything. Now, over time, I became a tradesman, but I could see back in the day, people were like, God, this guy has like no critical thinking skills when it comes to more hands-on carpentry, mechanic type of working with your hands type of stuff. I talk about these things rather than my military career because I think it's more interesting, and those are all things that I've had no formal training in, and I taught myself. Right, but you still had to teach yourself. So my question is, one, is my observation off the mark and I've just wasted both of our times? No, because it's the classic theory versus what's happening in the real world. Theoretically, I guess also technically in the real world, do women lack critical thinking skills? No, they don't. However, practically or in the real world, because you guys always want to F them, you'll make it they never have to do it. They never have to fix their own car. not never, they ask me if they know that the furnace filter, there is a furnace filter needs to be replaced and how to do it. So in the real world, effectively, that's the word I'm looking for. Women are capable of these things, but why should they? You guys always do it for them. And so then you're shocked that they don't have I'm trying to think what else. Home maintenance your painting is a perfect example. Like if you'd never painted before, you don't know that you got to go get the tape. You got to tape off the whole room. Probably never painted before. But where you are right is then, okay, she threw in the towel, like, somebody, not me, do something. Like, okay, well, there you go. So it's not in terms of operational, like day to day, your observation is not off the mark. At that moment in time, that girl doesn't know how to uh, trickle charge a battery. She just doesn't. But that doesn't mean she's not capable of critical thinking skills or just doesn't have them. It's just you give them an out. 2, if this observation is accurate, do you think women generally lack critical thinking skills for biological reasons? No, I don't think it's biological. Or it's because they're spoiled by having men do these things for them, so the necessity isn't there. There you go. Right. Like it's the classic example I use. Now, the case I use it is, women want more masculine men. I say, well, you should vote for a government program, voted for obviously by the Democrats, to have a bunch of people go into the gyms and help lift the weights for all the men you want to turn into masculine men. Obviously, the point being that if you have your weights lifted for you, you're just holding on to the bar, you will never gain muscle. It's the same thing. Men do most of the heavy lifting for women in society. And then you're shocked that women aren't manifesting or growing out or behaving like another guy. Now, dude, I'll tell you this. As I've gotten older, it's not necessarily that, Jessie, God bless her, it's incredibly impressive. She can weld, she can fix, auto mechanics, and any woman that can do that, also highly impressed. But as I've gotten older, one of the most sexy things a woman can do is have agency and responsibility, where it's like, I'm going to do this and I'm not, because down the road, what will happen, and even to this day, girls, it's not even, oh, I need to paint the room or, oh, I need to fix the car. They even start outsourcing their thinking, which is an incredibly annoying thing because they're too lazy to even think. Where, okay, well, where do we go for dinner? Which, of course, you can ask that question, like, oh, where do we go for dinner? Yes, hey, what do you feel like for dinner? Oh, yeah. Or like, hey, what, I don't know. You're busy choosing something, and you truly don't give a fuck. Like, hey, which one of those do you prefer? Like that. A girl, like it is an independent girl, truly not a bitchy pain in the ass feminist independent, like a truly independent. No, I'm going to put on that dress. I'm going to order that food. Oh, I got to do this thing. I'll see you later. I'll be back in an hour. Like, go get them, babe. Like that, mundane and boring as it is, because if they're not going to make a decision, guess what? You do. And now you're dating an NPC. Now you got an NPC or a robot. In which case, it's like, all right, go grab a bunch of hot redheads with big tits, bring them back here. We're having an orgy. Then all of a sudden they get agency. Well, wait a second. Oh, you see, you are capable of agency and responsibility. You can make a choice. But where'd you go here? Be fair, young men. I forgot where you wrote it. But yeah, it is nice. It's amazing actually, where girls like independent actually makes their own and like, oh geez, I gotta fix this. Like what I'll give you an example. Ideally, you get a woman trained like this. The car breaks down. She doesn't call you and ask you what to do. She knows enough to call a mechanic or AAA or whatever. and then informs you later that, oh yeah, the car broke down, I got it towed to a shop, it'll be repaired in a couple days. See, that's the difference. If the slightest bump comes along in their life and they immediately it's outsource it to the guy, yeah. But if there was no guy and it was 20 below zero and the wind is howling, she'll figure it out. They will develop those. They not develop. They will. It may be dusty. It may be hidden under a pile of other tools and Harlequin romance movies and college loan debt and all that. But they will find their critical thinking skills and they will do it. It's just the path of least resistance is call the guy and have him deal with it. To be fair, based on what I see from most younger men in my sphere, they don't have any skills outside of the jobs or an interest to gain them either. Exactly. I mean, it's whatever criticism we've laid upon women could be equally applied to most young men today. They call daddy. What was it? Something like 30% of millennial men don't have a hammer. I know a couple people individually, personally, where I'm like, oh man, you can't do anything. It's a guy. Like, wow, you are effed. You are really effed. In their defense, though, at least they're not running around saying, I'm a strong, independent man, don't need no woman fish by. Exactly, right. And perhaps that's where you're perturbed. I mean, has your girlfriend ever said that, though? You know, that's kind of, that's where I'd say, hey, you're contradictory. Knock it off. But if she's never painted before, never fixed a car, right. Perfectly expected. I appreciate your content, well thought out opinions, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on this video response if you think it's a worthy topic. It's very worthy because down the road, when you get older, if you get into a relation and you're in a relationship, women will slip into that. They'll just and it'll creep up on you where beforehand you got your own place. And this is another reason I recommend everybody have their own place. You like don't move in. Because then if a girl has her own place, she has her own car, she has to do her own things. She takes care of that. You move in. A lot of them slip into like they literally become another child where you decide what, well, okay, what are we going to make for dinner? Yes, sweetheart, you should. It almost gets to the point where you're like preparing a child to go to school, where it's like, I don't give a shit what you wear. Put on something and let's go. But the lazy thinking, and then again, that is like, wow, you're gonna have me do your thinking for you too. I don't care if underlying you do have the critical thinking skills. When it comes to what you're putting decisions and what you're putting forth in the real world, you're a robot. And so that's what you want to keep a keen eye out for. Your girl starts coming up to you and starts asking you mundane questions where you're like, look, I have shit to do today. I don't give a damn. I'm trying to think of something mundane. I don't care if it's ziti noodles or angel hair pasta. Make a freaking decision. And if girls get retired, oh Jesus, all women have to work until they're dead. You got to make sure they're working until they're dead. Otherwise, they're gonna get what becomes a very important question. Do we go with this color curtains or that color? Like, no, don't even waste my time. Yeah. So, but yeah, they don't lack critical thinking skills. They don't. It's perfectly capable. They just never have to use them. Then you guys are shocked. Well, how come they don't know how to? I don't know. Replace a cover gasket. Let's see if we got any super chats here. We have two. Free gender, $5. Most women are 16 going on 22. When they turn 23, they're forever 21, laughing out loud and never mature. There's some elements of truth to that. There's some elements of truth. What I've seen, and it's just because I'm older, is I will stand up for Gen X women anyway. There was a cadre or a percentage of them that did support themselves and were nice and did volunteer to pay for dinners and go Dutch. That I will say, not generally, but there was a contingent, a sizable minority of women that did what they said, but it's gone now. And these intelligent women who would put on some working gloves or mow their own yards or whatever. I don't know if maybe older. I'd love to get old man Rolo or Thor on this, where they just slide and they become these helpless fawns in the forest. They can't wipe their own ass. It's like, I remember when you were like an IT professional. I actually know one gal, very street smart. What the hell happened? So I don't know if it's like you live with the guy and just, he can handle, like, unconscious, not malicious. But even my girlfriend, there's been times where she'll ask the dumbest freaking question. I got to look at her. I'm like, who the hell are you? Who the hell? You look like this girl I met quite some time ago that was sharp, made her own choices. Like, that sounds like a question a 4-year-old child would ask. What the hell is going on? Which is why I make her do her own tune-ups and, if necessary, oil changes. Like, why don't you go put some stable in the lawnmower? Why don't you go fire it up? Willie Mendoza, $2. Does going to the gym help with the girl? That's the number one thing that helps with the girls. Not working on your personality, not going to college, not making money. Go to the gym and be tall. Those are the number one things you can do. Be tall, which you don't control, and go to the gym. And if you're not willing to do that, don't bother with them. Let them come to you, and I would not hold your breath. Tim Longley, $10 Australian. I broke up with a girl because she refused to express anything resembling her own desires. Yeah, there you go. Why do they persist in this kind of behavior when they know it infuriates us? I broke up with a girl because she refused to. I don't know. One of the theories women pass around, which I don't give any credit to, is they're afraid that they'll be wrong. When it's an opinion, there is no wrong. It's like, look, dude, tell us what you want. From anything important like having kids to very truly minor things. Do you want blue pens or white pens? And maybe I was too young and too busy occupying with other things, but I do believe women weren't bogged down in this minutia when they were younger and when I was younger. But when you're like, hey, what do you want? From a guy's perspective, you're asking from a strategic and not even investment. It's not care. It's more like it's goal oriented. What do you want? Okay, we got to make sure we want the same goal. If we agree, oh, okay, we got the same. All right, then we schedule a bus or get flights, or we got to go to Home Depot or whatever. And then you say, hey, what do you want? And then there's the hemming and hawing, and then the throwing it back at you. And you're like, look, if it's an important issue, like, do you want to get married? Where do you want to live? That kind of thing. Okay. But when it gets to this small petty thing, it's like, I have a life. I got shit to do. You don't have 5 minutes to talk about, I don't know, which coffee store to go to. You just don't have it. And I don't think it's that they're afraid they're going to make the wrong. They're just lazy. They just don't want to. Or they lack a lot of life experience and any passion for life, so they don't have a preference. I don't know. Why do they persist in this kind of behavior when they know it infuriates us? You credit them with too much credit, sir. They don't know it infuriates you. That would require thinking about you. It would require not being solipsistic and being altruistic and selfless, and thinking about the other person. They don't. Like, your little kid doesn't think, is it going to piss, 4-year-old kid, is it going to piss off dad if I run around in this stream and go try to grab that turtle? They don't think about that. Oh, a turtle. Bread and Gatorade, $5. Woman today would rather work until they are 75 and pay men to do everything they need rather than have an actual man. The irony is astounding. No, I don't. I'm going to go defend them. At least this one choice you give them here, the one thing we're talking about, they have more choice that way. Okay, you can have an actual man fix all the houses and all that, but now you're stuck with that one guy. And women, like everybody else, wants choice. So if they can pay a man to come in and do it and then date all these different guys, that's what they're going to do. Now, if this happens more in porn than it does in the real world. If the plumber is really hot, they'll bang them, but that doesn't happen. Or the pool boy or whatever stereotype you may have seen. But yes, but it's not irony. Bread and Gatorade, you misjudge, you misassess, you are wrong about what women want. Women don't want you. Not you personally, individually. Women just don't want guys that much. They want multiple guys. They want perfection. And it's either perfection or nothing. It's the best way to put it. They want their top 5% alpha guy. And if they can't get it, they will settle for nothing. And they are perfectly happy, meaning they've made this decision consistently now for 3 generations. You'll see it as women, younger generations age. It's going to happen. They are making their choices. When I say happy, of course, now they take antidepressants because they were also promised on the same side that they could have whatever they want. They can have it all. And Jason Momoa is just around that corner for them. Even though they're fat, disgusting sows with a bunch of lip and attitude, they're a little bit sad about that. But when you look at the decision, yes, they would rather work until they're 75 than being married to a perfectly fine man such as yourself, because you're boring and average. You may not even be, you could be a slightly better than average. They want perfection, and they will settle for nothing less. And that's very common today. In my generation, not so much. Women would settle a little bit, but not so much today. Wahatitses 707, 10 generous dollars. Asked the girl if she was in slow classes and or on the spectrum last night. Would it be able to accept consent from a minor? Huh? What? Asked the girl if she was in slow classes and or on the spectrum last night. Wouldn't be able to accept consent from a minor. You lost me on that. I have had to kind of snap the GF out of it. I'm like, hey, you don't deliver your C game. Bring your A game. Let's go. So there's more to this as time goes on. There is. Married men might be able to speak to this more competently. It could be just something as simple as women are so desperate to get a guy, or they were at one time, that they put on their best foot forward, like they put on their best game, but then they tire and they get, well, I mean, it happens, they'll lose weight to find a guy, but then once the wedding cake enters the mouth, they'll get fat and then they mail it in. Maybe it happens on a psychological level too. Okay, I got him. Now I could just mail it in. But guys do that too, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, there's been times where I'm like, hey, let's go. Willie Mendoza, $2. If I'm 5'7", is the gym even worth it? It'd be worth it for your own health, and if you're going to go overseas. But in the U.S., general answer in the United States, no. But you better have something else going on in life, Willie. You can't just sit there and mope. All right, 5'7", that's pretty short. Make a clear choice. Are you going to invest in chasing women or not? If you're not, then you better have another game plan. That's why I have the book called The Menu: Life Without the Opposite Sex. Right? And your lifetime passion shouldn't be like, oh, hating women on the internet, and, red pill. Like, you better go do something. But if you really want women in your life, you are going to have to hit the gym, but you're going to have to change. You're going to have to go to a different playground. You're going to have to go overseas or something like that and ask out short women. Be really charming and charismatic. But it's just going to be an I'm not saying it's impossible in the United States. It's just going to be an uphill battle. It's going to be an uphill battle. Rick Bungle, $2. Any dating advice for gay men? I'm not gay. I don't know. Of course, my best friend is gay. Well, you would know this more than I would. I'll try anyway because you paid. The problem my buddy Con ran into is that all the guys just want to have sex. The jumping from, because we're still men, right? You may like dick, but you're still a guy, which is why it's called gay, because they're all happy because they're getting laid all the time. So the sex is easier to get. It's not free, but it's easier to get. Then there's the commitment where it's like guys don't really necessarily want to commit. And then, yeah, some guys do get married, but it's very rare. It's not that common. So if you're just dating, or what the hell? Are you fat? Are you ugly? I don't know if you noticed. Now, not all gay men are jacked and good looking, but they do put a lot of, as compared to other groups of people, gay men probably put the most effort into their appearance. So you probably got to be doing the same thing. And then that's dating. So be good. Rule 1, doesn't matter. Gay, straight, guy, gal, doesn't matter. Be good looking. It's the foundation of every relationship. Physical attraction. You don't have that, it's all, don't even bother. Don't go into the baseball diamond or the baseball field if you don't have yourself a glove and a bat. Okay? Just don't. And then step 2, if you want to have a relationship, good luck. I don't, it's hard enough being hetero, watching my gay buddy. He's not, I don't think he's ever been in a serious relationship in 25 years. It's been a long time. So there you go. All right. Good talk, guys. Link down below. What the hell's linked down below? The Book of Numbers, Analyzing the ROI in the Pursuit of Women. There you go. See you guys later. Toodles.